Hey guys, welcome back to another JavaScript tutorial. So in this JavaScript tutorial I'm going to be talking about keyboard and mouse listeners, but in this one I'm going to be talking about mouse listeners because it's much better if we split it into two videos, because they're actually quite complicated topics. Like, they seem easy at first, but they can actually get really complicated. So in this one I'm actually just going to be talking about mouse listeners. And yeah, I'm just going to be talking over the main ones you need to know, how to use them, and also like what you can actually do with them. So let's just create our HTML document here. And for this I'm actually going to create a new JS file as well, just so I can show you guys how things work. Okay. So let's say we have this, we have over here. So all I'm going to do is just make a div. So let's just say we have something, or even just a button to keep it even simpler. So I'm going to make a button here. Let's call this click me. Let's just call this id equals sample button. And then what we can do is we have to get the button like that. Then we can do this, and then we can attach a listener to it. So this is not specifically a mouse listener, but it's just the on-click listener. And then inside of this we can actually do whatever we want. So we can do the button was clicked, and let's just log that. Oh, and if I open the inspector and click it, you can see that that comes up. So that's just a really simple on-click listener. That's not actually a button listener or mouse listener. So I'll show you guys what an actual mouse listener is. Let's say we have a div, and let's just call this div1 some content, and let's just give this some width and height so that we can actually see it. 500 pixels by 500 pixels. And this time let's have a background color of, let's just say maybe olive. Okay, so here's our div, right? So now we can actually attach a listener to this document.getElementById. I think it was div1, and then we can attach an actual mouse listener, which is just going to be, if you start typing on mouse, and you can see these are all of the mouse listeners. So we're just going to be doing on mouse over, and if we do that, now what we can do is let's first console.log mouse is over the div. Okay, so this is my mouse, and as soon as I go over the div it changes color. And we can also attach another listener for when the mouse is off the div, so on mouse leave, and then we can say mouse has left the div. So now we get one when it goes in and comes up. So we can actually use this to create our own sort of CSS hover pseudo element. No, that's not the word, but you know, we can create our own different stuff when it's hovering. So what I'm going to do is, when it's over it, we can get this, and we should actually, when you're referencing the same thing more than once, you should probably just create it as a constant. So const div1, and you can just copy and paste this into there, and then just put that into there. So now I can reference it like this, and I can just say div1 dot, let's just say style dot background color is equal to, and I just have red because it's simple. And then when the mouse leaves, let's just put it back to olive like that. Okay, so now you can see when I hover over it, it's you get the red color like that. So that's nice and simple. And now the final thing I want to show you before we go is the actual events, which also get passed in. So let's attach another mouse event. Let's say on mouse move. Okay, so what we can do here is we could obviously just console.log mouse moved over div1, and we'd get this every time, right? But we might want to get some other information like the position of the mouse on the div, things like that. So if we allow this to be passed in as an argument, now what I can do is I can actually print this like this, and it tells us all the information we want to know. So if we just look at one of these, you can see it's going to tell us all of the information, and we can look at the client X and client Y, and then you can console.log X is e.client X and Y e.client Y. So now we can see whenever this goes over the div, we actually get exactly where it's gone over. So if I'm over here, it's going to be a smaller X and Y, and when I'm down here, you can see the Y is much higher, and the X is somewhere in the middle because we're only in the middle. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about for mouse events. And one last thing, you might have noticed at the start that I actually used the defer keyword, and what this is actually going to do is only call this script at the end. So this is the equivalent of calling this script all the way over here, but we just left it over here because it looks cleaner. So if I remove that defer tag, now we're going to see we're going to get this error because what we're trying to do is we're actually trying to call this, trying to make a reference to this div1 before it's even initialized in HTML. So it's just going to think it doesn't exist. So that's why when you're working with like physical HTML elements, you want to always make sure you have a defer keyword so that your script is loaded after the HTML elements have loaded. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a future tutorial. Bye!